I'd like to call this meeting of the Westland City Council to order. We'll begin the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Disability Advocacy Committee.
You coming up? Sure. Right.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you guys want to stay there, Mayor Londo is going to come down real quick. Try it.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening. How about now? There we go. Good evening, everyone. Just want to take a minute. Come on up, guys. All three of you, yeah.
Come on up, don't be shy.
Just want to take a minute to recognize the Disability Advocacy Committee led by our chairman, Ray Schuholtz. Ray, I got a nice plaque here presented from myself, Mayor Michael P. Londo, in recognition of your commitment and dedication in promoting the involvement and acknowledgement of the concerns of disabled citizens of the city of Westland through research, education, and encouragement. Signed by me March 20th, 2023. Congratulations, Ray. And thank you to the entire group. They do a great job. I know we have a few members here. Sergeant Ute here from the police department is our liaison to the board. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, Don's here.
Right. There we go. Oh, I didn't see Craig. Thank you.
Good deal. Thank you.
Well, I wore my tie tonight. Oh my God.
Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Councilman Gabao. Councilman Hersberg. Here. Councilman Hornbuckle. Here. Councilman McDermott. Here. Pro Tem Markowski.
Present.
Councilwoman Sampe.
Present.
President Hart.
Here.
A quorum is present.
All right, we'll move to questions or input on the agenda from the public. This section will allow a person to be recognized only at the beginning of the meeting to address the council pertaining to items that are specifically on the business agenda. Excuse me. Questions asked may be responded to during the agenda item following a motion and support from council. Is there anyone on my right? Yes. On the agenda.
Jim Godfrey, Mayor, Council, and leaders of the administration. What I wanted to make a reference to was the budget revisions. When we have 5 or 6 miles of dirt roads, and I live in a section where a condo, and it goes from Yale, Hunter to Elmwood. That section of that road, it's only, quarter of a mile long, is always full of ruts. The one end always floods. And I just don't understand, of all the money that we're moving around in generalities, why we can't specifically fix some of the dirt roads. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, again, any input on the agenda? On my left? All right, anyone else in the audience? Input on the agenda? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I apologize.
All the way to the...
Yes, sir.
Same thing. Yeah.
On the new business item too, I don't really have a problem with the date. I just want to send a message to the administration in regards to your city commissioners. It's been over 20 years since the city commissioners had a raise. So I want you to seriously, you and council, think about providing our commissioners with a modest raise in this new city budget. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else in the audience? On the agenda, yes, sir.
Blessings. I think it's been a while since I've been here. I think Mother's Day of last year when I Wished everyone a happy Mother's Day. Well, I'm speaking today regarding the agenda item that's talking about the ordinance for the bike path. When we speak about that, one section stood out to me. It was regarding the criminalization of parking. When we look at the bike path, we understand, and I get the understanding why it may be looked in that realm, but we have other laws that can support that. When we look at like laws impeding traffic, that's a civil infraction. When we look at the history of the bike path, many had an issue with understanding what a bike path is and a bike way is. I don't see any definitions to explain what that is. When we look at the bike path itself, many residents signed a petition saying they didn't even want the bike path. And what we found is that the bike path in certain areas, or the bike way, is very narrow. So we're opening the door for misuse of even the police force. They've been doing a great job, but we've had issues. We've had issues with bike registration, where an overzealous police officer decided to go forth with that, and that got overturned very quickly. We need to stand in a realm to look for justice. This is not justice going forth with a misdemeanor and criminalizing parking. We can use other resources. I look towards you all to take the moment, instead of sliding it through the consent calendar, putting some of these things on the discussion panel to be able to discuss this new business, to have an open conversation about it, to really go in and decide, is this really what we want to do for the sake of justice? Is this in the best benefit of the community? How do we, if we're going to go down this path, how do we make it easier for the people to understand? If we're having issues between bike way and bike path, and people understanding that, how are they going to understand where this line cuts off? We also had the idea and understanding with the bike path and the bike way that parking wouldn't be a big issue how it's being implemented. But now that it's being brought up into an ordinance and being brought up as a criminal component, we're opening the doors for many people in our community to deal with issues that they don't need to deal with. Let's go down the civil infraction side of it. Let's have a discussion how to make this better so that we do better for the community as a whole. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience input on the agenda? All right, I'll close input on the agenda and move to consent calendar. Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Godbout. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Stampy. Chief Jadrusik, did you want to add anything for item J? Say again. Oh, yeah, he's over here.
No, I would just point out that these are all state laws that are being adopted by the city of Westland as local ordinance. Now that we have the bike paths, bicycle, pedestrian, when involved in an accident with a vehicle is still done on a state UD10 form. So we want to have ordinances in place that we can enforce those when investigating traffic crashes.
Thank you, Chief. All right, are there any changes to the consent calendar? Councilman Hertzberg.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to move items C and J to new business, please. I just have a couple of comments and questions on both those items, if we could get those moved to new business.
Okay. There's a motion from Councilman Hertzberg to move items C and J to new business. Is there support?
Support.
Support from Councilman McDermott. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. Items are moved to new business. Returning to the consent calendar, are there any changes to the consent calendar? Any changes? Any dissent? Any dissent? Adjusted consent calendar is approved unanimously.
Council has approved the following consent calendar items. Approval of request from the Westland Events Committee to hold the second annual craft beer and wine event on Tanton Park grounds Saturday, September 16, from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Approval of request from the Westland Events Committee to hold the 12th annual Blues, Brews, and Barbecue event on Central City Park grounds, Friday, August 4, and Saturday, August 5, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Approval of bid for cold patch. Administration recommended the lone bidder, Cadillac Asphalt LLC, at a rate of $144 per ton. Approval of bid for professional joint and crack sealing services. Administration recommended the low bidder, Michigan Joint Sealing Incorporated, on an as-needed basis. Approval of bid for pavement marking services. Administration recommended the lone bidder, PK Contracting LLC, on an as-needed basis. Approval of purchase of replacement generator for the public service yard in the amount of $43,325. Approval of purchase of plow blades for the Department of Public Services, amount not to exceed $33,251.55. Approval of renewal of agreement between the City of Westland and Axon Enterprises regarding police body camera and police vehicle camera equipment. Term of this agreement shall be for a period of 60 months in the amount not to exceed $168,414.47. Adoption of prepared resolution authorizing the disposition of one property, 36005 Palmer Road, acquired under the CDBG home and city redevelopment programs to adjoining property owners and eligible buyers in exchange for the resulting public purpose. This authorizes the mayor and city clerk to sign the quitclaim deed on behalf of the city and the community development director to sign all other closing documents for the sale of the property on behalf of the city. Last item approved on the consent calendar today, approval to change the scheduled July 3, 2023 City Council meeting to Wednesday, July 5, 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m. per council policies, Article 5, Section 1B. Moving to payment of vouchers.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Hornbuckle. Supported by Councilwoman Sampe. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 1, approval of minutes of regular meeting held March 6, 2023.
I have a motion from Pro Tem Murkowski, supported from Councilman Hornbuckle. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Gadbout.
Abstain due to absence.
Councilman Hersberg.
Abstain due to absence.
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Councilman McDermott.
Yes.
Pro Tem Murkowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sampe.
Yes.
President Hart.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 1A, formerly known as consent calendar item C. Please give me just a moment. Approval of bid for official city newspaper. Administration recommends Don Nicholson Enterprises doing business as Marketplace with the term to commence immediately and will be valid until December 31, 2023.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion from Councilwoman Sampe, supported from Councilman McDermott. Councilman Hersberg, I assume you have discussion before the maker and supporter. Did you have, maker and supporter, have any questions? Councilman Hersberg? Oh, Councilman Sampe, did you have
Yeah,
something?
Yeah, so I definitely am in support of this. The newspaper is a little bit more unconventional in spots that people visit, which I really appreciate and like. In terms of newspapers in general, and I'm assuming someone from administration can adjust this, there's really not many printed copies now. I mean, in terms of circulation, most of them are online or they're not printing at all. So that's kind of where it stands, so I am in support of this evening.
Okay. Councilman Hersberg?
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Councilwoman Sampe, for kind of explaining that, because this is kind of a unique situation here. I just have a couple of questions. The way this is written, it's very different than what we've seen before. And I see Don's in the audience, and this is nothing against you. I support you, and I support all your events. You know, I want to make sure that we're going to follow the rule of law here as closely as possible because, again, this is very different. My first question, I guess, would have to be to finance, whoever can answer. So the pricing that's listed in our packet, when we used to get bids from the Observer, from the Eagle, from anybody else, the Telegram, it would be like $3.50 for a half an inch of print. And it looks like we're moving to a flat rate, you know, between 1 and 300 or so. How does that differ overall in our cost per year for the newspaper?
Please.
So for the cost piece, previously it was presented as a per column inch. I think the last time we awarded this to the Observer, it was about $4.66 per column inch. For the invitation to bid, I believe for apples to apples comparison, that would come to about $35 for an invitation to bid. In your packet, I believe it's $185. So there is price differences, but at the end of the day, we believe that this recommendation complies with the intent of the charter. And historically, this contract would only probably be about $10,000 annually with all publications with the city, through the clerk's office and my department and other departments as well. With this contract going to be about a 9-month period, we don't expect to exceed that dollar amount by a absurd number.
Great.
Okay.
Great, thank you, Devin. Just wanted to get that clarified. So we cited the charter. I'm looking at state law, and I brought this up to the city attorney before the meeting. State law requires that the official city newspaper, whoever that might be, have a website to archive all of the bids, anything that we want to publish in there. And I noticed that there is no website currently for the marketplace. Can you comment on that, Don?
Oh. Don, why don't you come on up?
It's just PDFs.
I can actually answer your previous question, by the way.
Thank you.
On the funding, on the pricing. You'll probably find we're much lower than what you've been paying with the Observer. Our paper is not laid out in columns where you were paying by a column inch. At the maximum, if you had a full-page ad with us, it's $740. If you had a full page of legal notices in the Observer for a full page, it'd probably be around $4,000 by the time you finished adding them all up. As far as a website goes, yes, we do. It's donnicholson.net, and that's in all of our papers as well. If you go through page 2, top left, it's been there for 9 years, almost 10 years now. The website and all of our contact information is there. Plus, we also do have a Facebook page that is the Marketplace News, and every single copy from 9 years and 3 issues back is still there. So you can go back and look at every single issue that's been published since 9 years and 3 issues ago. So all of that is there.
Thanks, Don, and thanks for being here to answer that.
Not
Because
a problem.
I started to check it out the other day, and I couldn't really find that page for the
And
archive.
by the way, my phone number is on page 2, top left of the paper. I'm always willing to answer questions. If you ever have a question about what we're doing or how we do it, it's an open door policy. And I know that we have a lot of city ads in there, if you will, like the library is continuously a half a page. That is no charge. So, you know, a lot of our community events is what we consider our content. We are not a newspaper, we're a community publication, which is also covered. I know Mr. Fazone looked at that, and so did Devin, that we were doing this. We did not apply for this because I've always felt that we need a newspaper in town, and unfortunately, there is no newspaper left in town anymore. We don't have the Observer, we don't have, you know, and I don't want to knock, Gina's a good friend of mine with the Telegram. She would put out 12, 15 papers next to our 250 pages, and I'd come back and they'd still have 5 or 10 of her papers there, and 250 of ours were gone. Our circulation for Westland is around 11,000, and that's our actual readership. We print 15,000. We deduct whatever we pick up at the end of each month for our readership numbers. So we do have some pretty good readership, and that's just our printed readership, not what's online as well.
Thanks, Don.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Not for you. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you for that clarification. That was really important.
Councilman Hertzberg, if I may, Don? Before Don goes to sit down, does any other council member have a question for Don while he's standing up here? I think it's fair. No?
I'm trying to get exercise walking back and forth.
I don't think in particular, but maybe he'd like to take one of the front seats in the meantime.
We'll just sit in the hot seat just for a
Not a
second.
problem.
We'll see.
Right, the spotlight.
Councilman Hertzberg, back to you. Thank you for letting me do that.
Thanks. You know, and again, I'm bringing this stuff up because I don't want to get so far away from the law when we're doing this. I know we have this attorney recommendation saying it's okay, but that's just one attorney's opinion, and there is no case law on it. So, I mean, another requirement says that it has to be 25% articles and editorial, which it's not. State law says that we need to have the list of subscribers, which I don't think there is a subscription base because it's free. And I know we did get that from the Observer a few years back when we had some issues with them. So again, I just wanted to bring this up. I know Canton had an issue. They were using a sister paper of the Eagle. They went out of business a couple of years ago. And I'm 99% sure that they went with the Free Press, which qualifies under state law as a publication, which is well within the realm of the law. So I guess my question is, why didn't we reach out to the Free Press, the Detroit News? There are still printed papers in Westland that people do subscribe to. So it seems risky to me to do this. Obviously, the state needs to change the laws, and they've tried to, but we'll see. Did we reach out to the Free Press or the Observer?
I believe the intent is to keep this a local organization. And again, when we bid it out publicly through our normal channels, the Observer, or I'm sorry, the Free Press was eligible to bid on it at that time. Personally, I did not reach out to them directly. I did reach out to the Observer, the Telegram, and the Eagle directly and requested that they bid on it. Each of them did not, but again, through our bid process, the Free Press was eligible to bid on it at that time.
Okay, well, that's it for me right now. You know, I just wanted to bring that stuff up because we're getting on the line here with the charter and the state law with what we're supposed to be doing and not doing. And I know some papers in the past have had issues with political stuff and whatnot. I don't see that happening with Don. So I'll be in support. I just wanted to bring up these concerns for the sake of conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Pro Tem Murkowski?
Thank you, Council President. So just so that, our audience is aware, so we have an official city newspaper that we have to bid out each year. This year, during the bid process, none of the papers did bid. So that's why this is coming across our agenda today. Additionally, that newspaper is used, so when we have rezoning or anything that the city has to post, it has to be available to you. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was kind of aware of why we even have a city newspaper contract. Last year, I believe, in the House or Senate or the state of Michigan, they were looking at using electronic versions of publication, but there wasn't any real traction or movement done on that legislation, so that's kind of why we are where we're at today. I think our last contract was with the Telegram. It did not have a large reach in the city. I couldn't even tell you the different locations where you could have gone and got a telegram other than City Hall. So I think it's important that whatever publication we use is accessible to the public, right? These are our legal notices. So you want to be able to legally notify you of anything that's happening in the city. So having something that can be widely distributed amongst our vast city here is of utmost importance. But I also think that we need to be continually working with our legislators to make sure that they make some progress in how we can deliver those messages, but also have a very clear spot on our own website where you can find those notices. Because it shouldn't be a hunting expedition to find the city notices. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Godbout?
Thanks. I agree with my councilwoman in regards to keep making sure that we keep it on the city website for all of our legal notices, as well as the publication. But I would also encourage my colleagues. I've reached out to our state representative for this current state representative and the previous state representative to work on getting the state law changed to allow for electronic publication. And it's gotten zero traction from the past two state reps. So the more pressure that gets applied from everyone sitting up here to our state reps to address this issue, because it's not getting better. The Free Press is down to 3 issues per week that gets delivered. And the Observer, at least previously, delivered twice a week when I had that subscription. The Telegram, when I had the subscription to the Telegram, because I bought a subscription to the Telegram, I think I received about 4 issues total, and they quit delivering it to the House. So it's really an issue that needs to be addressed at the state, and the more pressure that gets put on by everyone, and not just myself, at the state level, maybe we can get some action taken from the state. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the council? Any discussion? Say again? Yeah, you can't participate down
Can I add
south.
some more to your questions? Can I help you? No.
No, yeah,
That's
you
right.
can't, yeah. All right, any other discussion? Councilman Hertzberg?
Thanks, and yeah, I just want to echo the comments of Councilman Godbout and Councilwoman Rutkowski. We need to do something, because we're not the only city having this issue. And again, the reason I brought this up is because the law says this, and we're not exactly doing that. You know, I just feel like the proper way to do this, since nobody bid, would have been to lower the standards, said we're not gonna do A, B, and C, but if you qualify, I'm sure there's plenty of other organizations in the city, there are, that would have liked to be the official city paper that does editorial. There's Westland Community News, there's a lot of digital ones. If we could have made our own language here and put it out for bid to do digital, but, you know, again, it's a statewide problem, at least Westland and Canton. I know there's a couple other cities too that are having the same issue. So I just echo the comments of Councilman Godbout and Rutkowski. You know, if maybe we get a resolution going, there does need to be more attention brought to this issue, because it's an outdated law and it's becoming a problem for not only us, but many cities. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Councilman Hornbuckle, did you have
Not
something?
really a discussion, but just a comment. I will support this. I do like that we're going with someone that's local, someone that is involved in the city. So I will be supporting this.
All set? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Is there any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 1B, formerly known as consent J, adoption of ordinance 243B, an ordinance to amend the Westland City Code of Ordinances, Article 2 of Chapter 26 by adding Division 3 entitled Bicycle Operations and Safety. This item was introduced March 6, 2023.
It's a motion by Pro Tem Rakowski. Supported by Councilman Godbout. Any discussion, Councilwoman?
Well, I'm going to defer my personal commentary, but again, just kind of ask through the chair if the police chief could kind of give us another overview of how these ordinances work in concert with our state laws.
Okay, thank you, through the chair. I guess my best comparison would be is we have parks in our community, so we're required to have ordinances to protect our parks and protect our residents while they're using the parks. Kind of the same logic, you know, we created bicycle lanes in the city of Westland, so we need to make sure that we've got ordinances in place to protect the riders, protect the roller skaters, the bladers that are using those lanes. We need to be able to enforce those laws. Currently, those laws are in place, but they're under state law. What we're asking to do is to create those as local ordinances so that they can be enforced through the 18th District Court in Westland. Inevitably, there's unfortunately always going to be accidents and things like that that occur as part of any program. And what we want to do is make sure that we're enforcing these laws to protect our riders. And when we do have an accident, we're able to report it on our state UD-10 forms and then enforce them locally versus through state law. Again, I circle back to the fact that we have these bike lanes in our community now, so we want to make sure that we're protecting the riders that are using them.
Anything from the supporter? Councilman Godbout? No. Okay. Any other discussion from the council? Councilman Hurstberg?
Thanks, and through the chair to the police chief, can we just clarify, are people still going to be able to park on Wildwood where they're currently parking?
Well, through the chair, according to the ordinance, they can't park on the bike lane. So if there's a designated bike lane there, they can't park on that bike lane.
Yeah, I understand that. Thank you. I understand that, and I support that. But when we had all those residents come in here, they were told multiple times that parking would not be removed in front of their house. I mean, people have narrow driveways along that space. You got a couple of cars, you have people over. I mean, what are they supposed to do? I really think we got to look at some sort of alternative before getting out there and writing tickets, because that's going to be a problem. I don't know if I can support this at this point until we can come up with some sort of solution. Another comment I wanted to bring up on this is the bicycle lights, requiring that. I'd brought that up a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. It didn't get much traction from council. I think Councilman Londo at the time was the only one to comment on it and said something along the lines that we should do some sort of education before we roll that out. And I think another council member brought up that maybe we should get a grant and give out some lights for free. So it didn't get any traction back then, but now we're going to adopt it and we're not going to do any of those things. It doesn't make sense to me why we wouldn't do that. Are we just going to start ticketing people next week, for riding a bike after dusk without a light? Again, I support the light. That's good. I had brought that up before. But I don't think we're ready today to adopt this ordinance, so I won't be in support. Thank you.
Councilman Godbout?
Yeah, thanks. And I was part of the walk and roll committee when we put in this first bike lane on Wildwood, and we didn't remove any existing parking. Where the single or dedicated use bike lane is currently on Wildwood, there was no parking in that section of Wildwood. Where there are sharrows, there is still parking allowed on those sections of Wildwood. So there was zero impact to the parking on Wildwood as a result of the bike lane going in along Wildwood. So the parking issue hasn't changed as a result of this ordinance being enacted. The bicycle illumination part, I believe, is already part of state law that, and I don't disagree that we should do some additional education, but, this pretty much mirrors what is currently in state law for safe operation of a non-motorized bicycle or vehicle within the state. So I'm supporting it, and hopefully we'll continue or get back to looking at the other areas where bike lanes were supposed to be targeted for. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sampe?
I was actually going to echo before I hit my light, a few things that Councilman Godbout had said as well. But I guess looking at safety as a whole in our city, I just think it's extremely important that if there's a car that's blocking a bike lane, the rider has to go around it, which again allows for a collision or a tragedy to happen. So to continue to keep our city safe, and also, we're promoting to get out and be mobile and to ride your bike, and, I think it's just very important that we consider that as well too, in addition to the state law. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up too, is, we're continuing to have our city safe, and there has been so many tragedies. Sorry, I'm looking at you. Looking at you, but like I'm pitching the idea. There's been so many tragedies. It's just a continuation of just making our city safe, and again, reminding those around that area that this is a state law. So, and I will be in support of this.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Councilman Hertzberg.
Thank you. And thanks, Councilman Godbout. There is some discretion in the way this ordinance is written between bike path, bike way, bike lane. I really would have liked to see this go to a council subcommittee. This is an ordinance. We're the legislative body. We haven't had a council subcommittee. I don't even know the last time we did. This is the type of stuff that needs to go to a council subcommittee so that this can be addressed before it gets adopted. Again, I don't think we're ready to do this. I do support all the goals in this by far. I had brought up wanting to do a bike light ordinance before, so obviously I'm in support of that, but not without resident education, trying to give away some lights for free so people know what to look for at the store, how to use them, how to put them on things like that. So it really should have come to a council subcommittee first. So I will not be in support. Thank you.
Is there any other? Chief?
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to make one more comment that we actually did, as soon as the bicycle lanes originally opened, we did a big social media push on education for this for the entire community. If Council remembers, I sent you guys all the email and we directed people and asked you all to share it on your social media pages. In addition, now that when the ordinances are in place, our strategy is always going to be to educate before enforce. Educate before enforce. Our officers are going to go out there, continue to push to educate the community. We're going to, try to do as much as we can to make sure the residents that are affected know exactly what the ordinances are and that they're in place. So again, we're going to push that social media campaign out again here quickly too.
Thank you, Chief. Is there any other discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Godbout.
Yes.
Councilman Hertzberg.
No.
Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Councilman McDermott.
Yes.
Pro Tem Murkowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sampe.
Yes.
President Hart.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business, item 2, set public hearing date for proposed 2023-2024 budget. It is suggested May 1, 2023.
So moved.
Motion from Councilwoman Sampe, supported by Councilman Hertzberg. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 3, set public hearing date for the 2023-2024 Community Development Block Grant Home Annual Plan. Suggested public hearing date of April 17, 2023.
So moved.
Motion from Pro Tem Murkowski, supported from Councilman McDermott. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 4, adoption of resolution to authorize application for a one-day liquor license to sell beer and wine at the craft beer event to be held September 16, 2023. If approved, it authorizes the mayor and city clerk to sign the application on behalf of the city and submit to the State of Michigan Liquor Control Commission.
So moved.
Motion from Councilwoman Sampe, supported from Councilman Hertzberg. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 5, adoption of resolution to authorize the city to apply for a special 2-day liquor license for beer and wine sales at the annual Blues, Brews, and Barbecue event to be held August 4 and August 5 at Central City Park, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. at 36601 Ford Road. If approved, authorizes the mayor and city clerk to sign the application on behalf of the city and submit to the State of Michigan Liquor Control Commission.
Support.
Motion from Councilman Godbout, supported from Councilwoman Sampe. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. We will now move into public comment. Everyone speaking for the council should do so in a civil manner. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, vulgar language, disruptive outbursts, threats, racial slurs, or other conduct that interferes with the business meeting. Personal attacks on council members, the administration, city staff, other speakers, or members of the public will not be tolerated. The clock will start upon the first words of the speaker, will not stop while the speaker is recognized from the floor. It is the speaker's option to ask questions at this time, and the person questioned may choose to respond during the speaker's allotment of time. However, the clock will not be stopped once it has started. The clock will continue to run until the speaker is completed or their speaking time is exhausted, whichever comes first. Is there anyone on my left? Sir.
Thank you, Councilman President Hart, and I want to thank the council and Mayor Landau and Devin for your help in doing and for you guys approving this to become the official paper of the city. I also will support Jim Godbout in saying that we need to go after the state and have this thing done. I think we need to have a newspaper in town, and I would support that as well. We would love to be able to do editorials in our paper. It would cost me about $50,000 more a year in order to do that, and I'm not a writer. I don't claim to be a writer, and that's why we don't do that. I want to also state that as far as our advertising for political ads, we only run the political ads that people ask us to run. We do not sell political ads to anybody. Matter of fact, we've turned down one political ad because it was negative to other people. So that's something that we do run, but only if people come to us and that. So, but I do want to make sure that I say thank you, and I appreciate that you guys trust us for this, even though it's still December, and hopefully we can make everybody feel very happy with that. If you have another place where you'd like to see our paper and they're willing to put it in, we want to get into more and more places that are willing to do it, and we'll get them out there as much as possible. We do like to have a place where we can get rid of at least 250 papers at each stop, and they go through 99% of them. So we've got quite a few big places in Westland, and our readership is at 11,000 in the city. So I think that's bigger than the Observer has been in a long, long time. But thank you very much for your support and that. Thank you.
Thank you. Am I right?
Good evening. I'm Emily Bauman, Westland residents, but I'm representing Huron Valley Lutheran High School today. Huron Valley Lutheran High School has been in existence since 1975 and part of the Westland community since 1983. We have celebrated the graduations of over 800 students who have gone on to colleges and universities such as U of M, Michigan State, Wayne State, and many others, and stepped into the lives of contribution to their families and communities across Michigan. Huron Valley Lutheran High School was built on the foundation of partnering with families to provide an excellent education that prepares students for life. Over the past few years, we have seen a need in our community to serve and expand the reach of our school and offer parents in the community another option for the education of their children. We are pleased to announce that Huron Valley Lutheran High School is now Hope Christian Academy, and beginning in the fall of 2023, will be expanding to be a 6th grade to 12th grade middle and high school. Hope Christian Academy is founded on 4 central educational themes: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and Christian. We strive to be an option for families in our community for innovative education, extraordinary connection, and life-changing hope. I do know that they're working with the Westland Chamber of Commerce, I believe, to have a grand opening very shortly, I think. And I do want to give everyone their phone number. Matt Foley is the principal, and their phone number is 734-525-0160. Their address is 33740 Cowan Road. And they are open for tours, and they're open for people to come and check them out. If you've got someone entering into 6th grade, please explore them. They are a great service. My daughter did graduate from the high school, I will share. So we are connected to them, and we actually, the amazing faculty and staff. I just have to give great kudos for them. And I've also encouraged them to actually share some of their students' stories for purposes of that Compassionate City Award. So hopefully you'll start seeing more of them as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone on my left? Sir.
I'm getting really sick, Kevin Walding, Westland. I'm getting really sick of this DTE garbage. They claim they're gonna fix the thing every time, and then, I don't even know what to say. They don't do the job right. It keeps going out every year, and then they claim they're gonna give you $35 if you're, after 90 days. It should be $35 every hour that the power goes out, instead of $35 90 days, so. And then people say, well, don't you have renter's insurance? Renter's insurance will cover that. No, they don't. So, and then this bike thing. People are gonna hit you anyway. They're not gonna see you even in the daytime, let alone at night. So they don't care about people on bikes anyway, so it's about that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone on my right? John.
Hello, Josh Powell, Westland resident. So I did, now I'm back here at the same old thing, water tower. So I did go to a Detroit Water and Sewage Department Finance Committee meeting, which I can tell you that the Westland City Council meeting is much more exciting. But yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
But I did, I asked a question about water rates, and I did get a response back from them because they said they didn't have all the information, but they said the soonest they could change water rates, if everybody suddenly went to having water towers and you bought it at night, the soonest they could change for existing contracts would be 2038. So that would be the soonest that they could change from the water rates from the existing time to new water rates if they decided to do it today, because that's what their current contracts with several industrial suppliers are when they expire. That's all I have.
Cool. Thank you. And I didn't have to call anybody. Josh took care of it for me. Thank you. All right, is there anybody on my left? Yes. Yes, ma'am. Back.
So it's my first time here, so I'm a little bit nervous. My name is Melinda Harris, and my family's been in the community since 1971. And my brother's a retired police sergeant. And so one thing I have in mind, and I was told this really wasn't on the agenda today, but I appreciate, the mayor talking to me and addressing my concerns. So the first two more important things are my 4-year-old daughter, because our family is sensitive to pesticides. So is my son. And then I foster an adult that's challenged. So when I got the letter about the new leaf pickup and stuff like that, I was kind of shocked. I had to absorb it all because we live on a small dead-end street and there's already bickering to begin with. We have limited parking. One side of the block, there's big houses with big, huge driveways with 4 places to park. I have the little tiny driveway, but then I have the big, huge backyard. So as far as blowing, that would be a lot of work, blowing from the front, and all that, going out or from the back to the front, but that's not my main concern. I have some neighbors that spray pesticides, not a lot. My landscaper who just left told me in the past when they had the leaf curbside pickup that it was a mess, leaves were everywhere. I'm also concerned about the sewers, the clogging. I do have neighbors that don't care. They'll start throwing grass clippings in there, and my next door neighbor, he's single, he doesn't care, he's all ready to blow, but when he blows his little patch of grass and I'm sitting out in the backyard on a Saturday and we're all sensitive to pesticides because he sprays, it's all gonna blow on me and my kids. So we feel like, we have to hide and go in the house. And I do believe in the long run, this is going to raise our taxes. We're gonna have to pay for the gas, the truck, the maintenance. I've already been fighting the school district for a long time, the guy that runs the school grounds, because they don't want to acknowledge my concerns about pesticides. There's a lot of organic, cheaper ways to treat the lawns, and I feel like in the long run, We should care about our future and our environment. When people start blowing up all these leaves, and they've been doing spraying in the fall, all that stuff's gonna be going all over, making a big mess, making people sick. Some of us have asthma, some have COPD, some are COVID survivors. And I just think in the long run, it's gonna make people sick, clog the sewers, and cost money and raise our taxes. And that's basically what I have to say. It sounds crazy, but it's true. I've got neighbors, we want to put bee plants out. Bees are dying, a quarter of our crops are dying, and no one seems to care. And that's about it. Thank you.
Am I right? Ray?
Well, I might be using up my 3 minutes today, so I gotta figure this out. All right, so, well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you to the mayor's office. Thank you, Mike. I want to get a picture of me and you later after the city council meeting. I want to thank even the councils who were supporting me during some, the times they would say stuff. And really, it does really touch my heart. And put tears in my eyes tonight because I put a lot of work into this. I put a lot of my passion in this, and I will keep driving this system. We'll be going out to Livonia, city of Wayne, their city council, and educate about the disability advocacy. And I am proud of this name tag because the reason why I am so proud of this and the name tag, 2007, when we first started, it took a while. People wouldn't talk to me at first. Wait a minute. I'm just as like anybody else. We should be treated with respect. I'm always big about respect during that time. And now we are going places. I am proud of my members, 7 board members, that are working hard with me and joining me on this. And we are in the community. We are not sitting around. We have a diversity here now in Westland, and I love it. I call him easy. I guess he likes that when I call him that. So anyway, I'm very proud. And also, I'm very proud, and I am proud to start the month of that video, WLND. Matter of fact, there's over 200 views already on it during the week of 7 days, and I'm really impressed. So I'm going to send out that video out to all my other friends that peer mentors that I trained. Let them see that video. Education into the schools too, because they came back to me today that one of them saw it at the Plymouth and Canton schools there, special education. And I think it's good for them to see because the bulliness has got to stop. Everybody should be welcome into the community. Doesn't matter who we are. And I'm really big about the labels. Label cans, but you don't label people. And I wanted to say once again, I don't know, so many words, I don't know what to say, but I'm going to keep going what I'm doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Anyone on my left? Yes.
Good evening, Mayor Landale. Am I pronouncing that correct? Because we still, well, not me, but others, haven't learned to pronounce Richard's last name, correct? City Council and Chiefs. Just to report, the traffic situation has improved at our sub off Metal Belt south of the trail. 2 yellow signs, another one, reading do not block intersection, and the timing of the traffic light at the trail and Middle Belt with the green lengthened has helped. Thanks to Sergeant Paris, who is keeping myself and 2 others updated on the situation. Much appreciated. Thanks again. I don't know if he's here tonight, Sergeant. No. Thanks again, Sergeant Paris. In my opinion, I would still like to see a traffic light, not needed 24/7, and time it with the Ann Arbor Trail light. I feel Griffin Funeral Home, school buses, deliveries, they would all benefit the come and go out of our sub. Commissioner Anderson is checking darkness issue for getting street lighting between our sub and Warren Road on Middle Belt. They installed new light poles, I don't know when, a few years ago, between the trail and Warren Roads on Middle Belt. It's pitch black at Middle Belt Hines Drive Bridge. And with some deaths there, wouldn't you think safety would be reason to install street lighting? Oh, I still have. I'd like to make a motion that
I'm writing. Go ahead.
I want to see how effective I am. To move the chiefs back here. It's very confusing to me. So there's seats of importance.
Is there support?
Do I have any support?
Don't vote against it.
Right. Right. Kind of don't work that way, but okay. All right. Thanks, that was fun.
I think she wants a real answer, Jim.
To move them back? Well, that's.
Support on that?
First of all, it's not on the agenda today. That wasn't even on the agenda today. I can't make up agenda items at the last minute.
They are so important.
They're keeping an eye on everything there for us. So we'll talk after. So yeah, we'll address it. We'll talk. We'll let the mayor address it. So, is there anybody on my right? Sir.
There's a book that's by Laura Numeroff. And that book is If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. And it says, if you give a mouse a cookie, then the mouse will ask for a glass of milk. When you give the mouse a glass of milk, he'll ask you for a straw. That continues to go on and on and on and on. The reason I bring up that book is because year after year, time after time, what we have seen from decisions from council members, a cookie is given, and it opens the door to the straw, and it opens the door to the next thing. I urge council members to take a moment when things come up to really do their due diligence. A subcommittee. Maybe the mouse won't need a straw if we had everything up front. So this mouse continued to want more and more and more. And we keep seeing that time and time again. Let's fix it at the beginning. Let's get everything solved at the start. This way we can do the best work for the community. We can slow down some of these processes that have been going on and have to recreate, amend, continuous discussion. Tired of giving mice cookies. Tired of giving them straws. It's a great book. I hate to use it, but it's a good book. But I recommend us taking our due diligence, taking it a little more serious. Not saying that you don't take your job serious. I'm not trying to come from that lane, but I think the community could be of service if we take some time to say, you know what, maybe we can pause for 2 weeks. That's all.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Lori Wilson, Westland. I just want to bring it up on a serious note. I want to congratulate my 8-year-old grandson, Alexander Aubrey. Yesterday, he became the 2023 state champion novice of his wrestling group. Congratulations, baby boy. Oh, he's away in Westland School, child, but he wrestles out of Belleville.
Partial credit then. I know. Anybody on my right?
Paul and Nikki, I've lived in Westland for 45 years. I have last council meeting, when you were talking about the town hall with Rashida Tlaib and said that just DTE would be there. I just wanted to know who had reached out to DTE, and did they reach out and say they weren't coming? Because there were two other groups there that were not brought up, and I just was wondering, because it kind of felt like a bait and switch a little bit. It was a little bit of a campaign rally, and I do understand that there was a disruption and that is beyond your control. However, I just was wondering, did someone from DTE reach out to you guys and say, hey, we're not coming? And I think that should have been communicated a little bit better. But that's all, thank you.
Sure. Paula, I think we'll let the mayor address it too, add his comments, so the city technically didn't put that event on. So I'll let the mayor address all of that during his comments, okay? You got it. Anybody on my left? Say again? Far left? Did I miss anybody? No. Anybody on my right? All right, we'll close citizens' comments and move to comments from the administration. Mayor?
Thanks, President Hart. Just briefly on the DTE town hall, it was more of a DTE town hall as far as resident feedback. It wasn't put on by the city of Westland. It was hosted in the city of Westland building. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and a few of the groups that she brought forward paid for and rented the building, or rented the room, excuse me. We were just there. Many of us were there just to listen for the most part. I did the welcome. I know you were there. I did the welcome, and I sat and listened the whole time. So I'm not sure. You'd have to reach out to her and find out if she reached out to them or not. I did speak with somebody from DTE prior, and they said they were not planning on coming. So
It just was sold like that. So
sure.
Thank
Sure.
you.
You're welcome. This past week, residents also received a letter regarding leaf pickup and a survey, which was also mentioned tonight, which can be done online on the city's website, on the homepage under Spotlight section. You have it up on the screen here, or by scanning the QR code on the survey. Or if you prefer, fill out the copy that was mailed to you and send it back to City Hall. Copies are also available at the front desk at Westland City Hall. We're asking you folks to please take a moment to fill out the survey. I know as of this morning, we had over 400 responses online and counting. I'm not sure how many have came in yet, but that just went out last week. So we're still in the planning phases still, so there's no firm details available at this time as far as service date, service frequency, et cetera. After we gather this important information from the survey and, of course, our residents' feedback, we will then lay out how the program will look and how it will work. This will be discussed more with City Council during our upcoming budget study sessions. Another important note that is any resident that currently receives curbside sanitation services from the city is automatically eligible for the curbside leaf pickup program. Residents can still bag their leaves as they do now, as they've done so in the past, and leave them at the curb for their regular trash day. And just so you know, compost does begin on April 3rd. Our DPS crews have been out. They were even out again today, still doing sweeps with the storm damage, storm debris. So April 3rd, compost returns. I know there's a lot of questions from residents and City Council, and I'm really looking forward to those discussions during our budget study sessions. I know that several of the council members, along with myself, have heard from residents over the years about the leaf pickup and bringing it back and this much-needed service. Speaking of our budget, I'll be presenting to the City Council the city's proposed 2023-2024 annual budget on March 31st. We have also scheduled the council president, has scheduled 3, if needed, study sessions. Those will be on Saturday, April 15th, Saturday, April 22nd, and the third one will be Saturday, April 29th, if needed. Starting in April, I'll be also doing a new program on WLND called After the Gavel, which will air after council meetings. Please stay tuned to WLND for this new information, or for this new program. It's really going to give us a chance to explain in detail some of the great items that we talk about here at the City Council. The City Council approves from the administration, so I'm looking forward to that. It'll be short, maybe 2-3 minutes long. There will also be a council study session on Tuesday, April 4th at 6 p.m. right here at City Hall to discuss the council ARPA review and discussion. Is that what's on April 3rd? I thought that was for the AFSCME contract. AFSCME contract. Okay, I got that wrong. I apologize. April 4th at 6 p.m. to discuss our AFSCME contract, but there will be an ARPA review and discussion council study session coming up. I know the council president and the council leadership are working on that. Earth Day is April 22nd. There will be a lot of activities happening around Westland. The City of Westland and Wildwood Elementary will be partnering up for this year's Earth Day celebration. On Friday, April 21st at Wildwood Elementary, we'll be shedding light on the earth-friendly highlights and projects of both the city and the school district. We will be handing out seed packets and LED light bulbs to residents and revealing the special recycle benches that the children of Wildwood School helped bring to the city as part of our cap collection project. I talked about that at the last meeting. This event is still in the planning process, so please stay tuned to our social media as that date gets closer. That's the day before Earth Day. Earth Day is on a Saturday, and actually we'll be in budget study session, I believe. But also in partnership with Dedicated Recycling Company, the city is hosting a no-cost electronics drop-off day for all residents. Our Do It department, our IT department's putting that together, so I appreciate them. That'll be at the Westland Recycle Center located at 37137 Marquette. This event will be from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Items that will be accepted are computers, laptops, tablets, projectors, phones, both cell, landline, and office phones, decorative string lights, printers, and other items. There is a complete list of items accepted on the city's website, so check that out. The Westland Historic Village Park Day Museum Cleanup Day will be held on Saturday, April 22nd from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. This event will take place at the museum at 857 North Wayne Road. They're looking for volunteers to rake leaves, cut down some small trees, tear out a ramp that needs replaced, clean some gutters, clean inside several of the building, and a whole lot more. If you want more information on that, you can go to the City Westland Historic Village Parks Facebook page. Really excited about this one. The Westland Dog Vaccination Day will be held on March 25th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Wayne Ford Civic League, which is located at 1661 North Wayne Road. There will be low-cost vaccinations and licenses for Westland residents. The Michigan Humane, as well as our clerk's office, thank you for them, will be on hand to issue those. Also, if you are a veteran, this event is free with proper identification. So come on out early for this event as we're serving the first 250 people. I'm glad Ruth Dale was here tonight. Back in early February, we were able to install the do not block instruction signs at the Bedelt subdivision on Middle Belt Road because of the Mayor Monroe construction bridge. I'm sorry, we cannot allow something like a stop bar or a stop sign at the street because it will conflict with the traffic light and may cause accidents, but we have looked into any and all options. They reviewed and adjusted the traffic light phases and timing at Ann Arbor Trail, as well as a couple lights to the south in order to accommodate the extra traffic volume and free movement. So thank you tonight for coming out tonight, and I know the chief's been working well with Wayne County as well on that. So the charity basketball game Saturday at John Glenn High School was a huge success. All the proceeds will go towards the John Glenn scholarship programs. I don't remember what the score was, but I'm not going to say I'm not going to say who won or lost because I think we all won there because we're going to be able to donate to a young student. Earlier tonight, we had a promotion ceremony for a few of our veteran officers. I want to send a congratulations to Lieutenant Joseph Reardon, who's in the audience tonight, and Sergeant Michael Steckley for their promotions. And I also want to take a moment to congratulate Lieutenant Kevin Swope on his retirement. Appreciate his dedicated service to Westland. That's all I have tonight, sir.
Thank you. Anything from the city's attorney's office today?
I just want to say that I'm a little disappointed because I had a number of comments prepared on a variety of agenda items, but unfortunately, the chief jumped in on some of them and some council members jumped in on some of them, so I didn't have to comment on anything. So maybe next time.
So we saved money. Good. All right, we'll begin council comments this evening with Councilman Hornbuckle.
Thank you for allowing me to go first. I want to give, for Joanne, her presentation for the study session, really great presentation, a lot of information, and kind of helping me get up to speed on what's going on over in the Jefferson Barnes area. I also want to highlight a program that they have going on next week called Hackathon for kids 8 through 18. Next week, Wednesday, March 29th. A really great program for young kids to get into IT, learn how to build computers, and help grow that because computers are not going anywhere. As you see, they're getting better and better, and it's a good time to get them while they're young to learn those things. Also want to echo on the Earth Day. This is an event that I look forward to every day because my garage is full of electronics that I collect over the years. So it'd be great to take them to the recycle place, and that'll be April 22nd from 10 to 3 at the Westland Recycle Center. I think that's all I have today, and I just want to thank everyone for coming out to out to City Hall for the City Council meeting, and that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll have Councilman Godbout.
There we go. Thanks. Just a couple things. One on the leaf pickup program. I believe, and I know I'm the only council member that was up here when we had the leaf pickup program, which was, to say, problematic, to say the least. There were lots of issues with it. I didn't receive the letter because I don't get a water bill, and evidently it went out in the water bills, but I didn't get a copy of the letter until a resident sent it to me, and it indicated that it's at no additional cost to the residents. Part of the leaf pickup program, or the reason that it's being discussed, and it's being discussed like it's going to happen regardless of what may come of their surveys or results. And so I'll be anxious to hear how it's going to be rolled out. In the past, the leaf pickup program was not available to all the residents that receive trash service. And the reason for that was that there was an opinion by the city attorney, if the program is run by the city and city employees, they cannot go on private roads and provide services. So all of the residents that live on, and there are a lot of residents that live on private roads throughout this city, were excluded previously from that program. So I don't know how it's changed now that all of a sudden we can go on and do work and provide those services on private roads. And the fact that there's no additional cost to the residents is a little misleading in the fact that it's going to be able to be funded because of the extra $1 million that was passed for the curbside recycling program, which was not, and it was advertised as the $1 million for curbside recycling. The way the ballot language read, it said, and sanitation services. So I'm sure that's the loophole, but rather than, and we still have to pay the trash hauler to pick up the bags for people that don't care to have their leaves sit at the curb. I can tell you that service was the #1 complaint issue for the 2 months of the fall that when we had that program. It was also very costly from an equipment standpoint. The items that weren't supposed to be in leaves that get caught in impellers, and breakdowns of the equipment which delayed, and you can't always depend on Mother Nature to drop the leaves when you'd like. Neighbors disregarding when their pickups were going to be, and the leaves would sit there, or you'd get a strong wind and they'd blow into someone else's that's already cleared their yard. So in fact, the reason that there's money in the sanitation millage, or that additional millage, was because we did renegotiate our fees at the landfill. So rather than rolling back that millage, which we could do, that would benefit all the residents, we're now talking about implementing a new program that if that millage doesn't get renewed in 7 years, then how are we going to fund this program again? So I have lots of questions and lots of issues with the program, the way it's being moved forward at such expediency that, and we haven't had a discussion with council on this whatsoever. And there's a lot of things that council doesn't get any discussion on. We finally have a study session set up after a year of my asking on the ARPA funding. So I've got some ideas on that. We're also still embroiled, or still have issues with a lawsuit on the marijuana businesses. And this council introduced an ordinance amendment months ago, last year, to revise our ordinance to open up that. It was passed 6-0 by this council at a meeting, the introduction. The adoption never made it onto the agenda for council to vote on because the council president didn't like that change to the ordinance. Meanwhile, we're still paying attorney fees for all of the lawsuit that's still going on, and we just got hit with another lawsuit on our marijuana businesses. We should have had a study session months ago, back when, if there was an issue with the ordinance, that introduction, that we should have discussed and potentially looked at what else in our ordinance needed to be revised, because the industry has changed. Right now, because of the lack of movement or lack of activity in readdressing our ordinance when we should be readdressing it, we're missing out on revenue from those businesses to the tune of, conservatively, $250,000 for not having businesses in this city that could have been opened potentially this year. So, I think that I look forward to getting the budget and seeing just what's in the budget and how we're going to handle some of these issues and items moving forward, because we're just not doing it. There's no movement, there's nothing happening. Thanks.
Councilman McDermott.
Good evening, and thank you, Council President. I'm going to be brief tonight. I just want to thank and congratulate. I know, it's a shock. I was the longest-winded one last week, so I owe everybody.
Last week?
Or 2 weeks. Well, I was still speaking from.
It was
right.
a week long. Great.
That's right, that's right. Everybody was out and I was still speaking, still going. They turned the meeting on me. But no, I just want to congratulate Lieutenant Swope on his retirement from the Westland Police Department, and I want to congratulate Lieutenant Reardon and Sergeant Steckley on their promotions as well. Ray and the entire Disability Advocacy Committee, another great honor for you guys, and thank you for all the work and advocacy you're doing. And obviously March is Disability Concerns Month, so it's really important. Thank you for bringing up DTE again. I think we all have taken our fair share of shots at DTE, but this is an issue that we need to keep in the public eye because it's going to keep happening. And as we get into the spring, we get into the summer, and we get more power outages, we need this accountability to stay on. We as elected leaders need to hold the Michigan Public Service Commission, who ultimately needs to hold DTE to account, because it is our hard-earned money that's getting thrown out every time you throw food out, when your groceries spoil or medicine spoils. And I want to thank Joanne, well, she left, but I wanted to thank Joanne for the work that she did, putting together the CDBG presentation, and the administration for organizing that study session. Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sampe.
All right. Well, good evening. I hope everyone's doing well. It is March, first day of spring as well. I wanted to offer some congratulations on Officer Reardon. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. Hopefully I said that okay. And Officer Steckley. It's, again, like we've said time over time, it's great to see your families there and the support that you guys have. And I think I might take your daughter home because she's adorable. It was so cute because she pinned her dad tonight, so I thought that was pretty special. We did have a successful study session. Joanne is amazing. She does such a great job with the CDBG funds, and that committee is amazing. So just thank you for everyone that was involved in that. Ray, I wanted to send you congratulations on your award from Mayor Landau. That was pretty special. I can tell by your smile. So very well deserved as well. We also had Officer Ute here and Disabilities Concern member Debbie Hunt in the audience as well. They've been meeting a lot. They brought in guest speakers. They've taken field trips as well. So you guys have been very busy, and it's great to see that March is Disabilities Awareness Month, and you guys are hitting the ground running, really. You are, I know. I also have gotten good feedback on the WLND program too. So the show is currently airing on WLND and on our YouTube channel. So it covers a really candid conversation about challenges, and Ray shared his story. So I think it was very personal, and I cried, after I watched it. So thank you for being brave and sharing that. I think it was very important for individuals to hear the challenges that you went through. It was very meaningful. And C. Pascal Ease, our disability, well, I guess he'd be the liaison, the Disabilities Concern liaison. We also had Rebecca Rogers, who's a licensed counselor from Hagera Health there, and she kind of talked about some treatment options and just some things that families went through. So it was a really great program. And again, also WLND, who is here. You guys just do a good job and sharing it. I'll thank you time over time again. Just these programs that we do, I think people may question why we do them, but I have gotten so many good feedbacks from just individuals that it touched, or they're in that same situation, they have a family member. So it's just good to know that they're not alone and that these people have a place here in Westland. So thank you, WLND. Tonight we approved probably one of my favorite events, Blues Brews, but we also, the craft beer. So it was really great that we can approve this tonight and bring both of these events back in the city. I will address the DTE energy update very quickly. So how this came about is I was talking with a lot of residents. I worked very hardly. I worked with Mayor Londo throughout the whole process, and I really wanted something that we could have here in Westland for residents to have their voice heard. I mean, everyone had their own story, and it was very important that we offered some type of outlet. So, of course, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib was working really hard for us, and she reached out to me. We communicated a lot. She put together a town hall. She organized everything, but I worked really closely with her on the agenda. And again, she put the speakers. I did call DTE and nothing. I didn't get anything back from them. So she did reach out to them to invite them, and unfortunately they didn't show. So that was the plan. We were hoping that they would show, but they didn't. We did have a state representative, Dylan Regala, who showed 5 of my colleagues here on the dais. So we're here with you in solidarity. We're sick of it too. It's a frequent issue, and it's unfortunate that it keeps on happening, but, we're going to use our voices. There's a lot of town halls that are going on. I'll continue to share it on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page as well. Anything that I can get from town halls or information, I'll continue to put it out, because I really think it's important that there's transparency on what we're getting information-wise. I guess moving into some positive information here, the Westland Farmers and Artisan Market is coming back soon. So they have a very, very, very successful season. Last year, there was vendors from all over. People made crafts, people made baked goods. So that's going to be running from May 25th through October 12th. But they're opening the application process now. So if you know someone that has a bakery or someone that's a small business that wants to showcase their products, I would definitely say please have them go and apply. WestlandFarmersMarket.com has application information and market policies. And again, this is open to all vendors, so they don't have to be a Westland resident, but I know they're looking for, new ideas and new individuals, and it's going to be running pretty much every Thursday throughout that time period that I mentioned. In terms of the curbside leaf pickup program, I definitely feel like the survey is the best way to gauge people's opinions. I was looking, there's 263 reactions on our city page, 246 comments. Most of them have been positive. So if you feel differently, please share your voice. I feel like our administration's going to listen to them. There's information that's being rolled out. This is something that residents have personally talked to me about. When I was going through the campaign trail, I would knock on doors and people were saying, just bring it back, please. So if people feel differently, I just encourage you to fill out the survey and share your voice and basically state how you feel about it. And if you don't like it or don't want it, just, share your opinion. That's the best way that we can gauge. So cityofwestland.com, I want to share this really quick, /civicalerts.aspx ? AID = 198. And I think they need to get a better URL for that. So yeah, it's cityofwestland.com, right on there. But I was trying to give that direct URL. And then I just wanted to congratulate the police for a successful event this past weekend. My hot water tank went out. I was about to head out there, so I know that you guys had a very successful event. I was planning to be there, but congratulations again. I don't know what the score was. I think you guys, it was a really close game, I'm assuming. We're just going to say otherwise. It was a game. It was a game. It was a game, but it sounds like you guys raised close to $700. So awesome, and thank you for continuing to do things in our community. So yeah, 6 study sessions over the next month. So I know people said, hey, get out there and do the study sessions, so I hope you'll join us. So the 27th, the 3rd of April, the 4th of April, the 15th of April, the 22nd of April, and the 29th of April. So cityofwestland.com has those agendas. And our next meeting will be Monday, April 3rd, at 7. If we don't see you before the 27th, then, hopefully you can join us at an upcoming study session or the meeting. So everyone, be kind to each other, be safe, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Councilman Hertzberg.
Thank you, Council President. Not much more from me tonight. I got everything out during the agenda. Just a couple comments based on the resident comments. It was brought up about the Middle Belt traffic backup, and I had planned on bringing that back up tonight. I wanted to thank our director, Hassan Saab. This past Friday, he was on a call with Wayne County, and he was able to get those things done and get the lights retimed, which we've never been able to get lights retimed for any reason with Wayne County. So I was really surprised that they did that, and I hope he keeps that contact, and when issues come up that we can use them and retime the lights as necessary. Wayne County's been difficult to deal with over the years, but maybe that's changing now. Our regular budget meetings are coming up in April. We do them every year in April, at least 3. Arthur Warren brought up more pay for the boards and commissioners. If they haven't been changed in 20 years, as he says, I think that's maybe something we should take a look at least a little bit. Mr. Powell brought up about the water tower. That information you got about them not being able to change the water rate formula until 2038, if you could email that to me, I can get you my email after the meeting if you don't have it. I'd like to take a look and forward it to the rest of the council because we were talking about doing a water tower. A big concern was that we're going to spend all this money and build it. They're going to change the formula, and then we're not going to be able to see any savings. So if that's true, which I bet it is, I hope it is, maybe that's something we can talk about at the ARPA study session. And then just regarding bike safety, I know we've done social media. We need to do a lot more. We keep having accidents, even just pedestrian accidents. Whether we have a lane or not, or the light's red and people run it, we keep having problems, and we can't keep going on this path. So we need to do something here as far as resident education, maybe getting some of the city staff visiting the schools and doing some presentations. We really need to put the hammer down on this, and I think we all want to stop hearing about pedestrian accidents and bicycle accidents. Yeah, I do have a few more comments. I'm going to save them for the budget meetings. We're going to be seeing a lot of each other in the next few weeks, so I will talk to you guys then. Thank you.
Thank you. Pro Tem Murkowski.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to start off by congratulating Lieutenant Reardon, Sergeant Steckley, and on their promotions, and Lieutenant Swope on his retirement. It's always kind of bittersweet when we lose one of our public safety family members. Thankfully, it's only to retirement, but it's always wonderful to see new people have new opportunities. The mayor had made mention of Earth Day and one of the benches in the collection. So I was thankful to work with our Parks and Rec director and our local school children to launch a Green Trees plastic bench program where we kind of did a pilot run that actually ended up being a lot more successful. We thought we would build one bench. We built 8. The kids knocked it out of the park. And it's something that we're going to continue to do. And basically what happened is they collected caps and lids that got turned into plastic lumber, and it made pest-resistant, water-resistant benches that'll be utilized in the city. So way to go, kids. They always amaze me. We've got the best ones around. I really enjoyed having our Disability Advocacy Committee lead the pledge. When I first joined council, we used to have children say the pledge all the time, and I always thought that was special. But I think it's, obviously when we had the COVID pandemic, that had to stop because we couldn't be together. But I think it's a nice way of highlighting some of our boards and commissions, and maybe we can even extend that to some of, our children and sports teams in the future. As far as some of the ordinance, we had a lot of discussion on ordinance today. I think it's important that when the public knows kind of how we bring ordinances forward, because it's a 2-step process, right? So yes, we should have more study sessions, and there's always things that we can study, but when an ordinance is brought forward to the council for review and for passing, it's first introduced to us, right? So at the first meeting, it's introduced, and that would be the best opportunity to add your commentary, because that almost always ensures that we have 2 weeks before we go to the adoption phase, which is what happens in the subsequent meeting. So there's a lot of different things that are done in a 2-step process, and that ordinance is one of those. So just so that you know in the future when we start doing more ordinance work, that's how that's introduced, so that you're aware and you can participate. We are going to have a study session on March 27th, and that is going to be to review the tentative agreement for the collective bargaining agreement for our 1602 AFSCME employees. So that'll be in that room right over there. I think at 6 o'clock. I think 6 o'clock was right. Don't hold me to that. Might be 5:30, but I'm pretty sure it's 6 o'clock. And then on April 4th, which is the day after the next council meeting, we're going to have our ARPA discussion and study session. So that's one that I think a lot of people are interested in attending. I doubt that we'll all fit in that room for that one. But I think it's going to be a productive discussion. The ARPA dollars are there. We can review what's been allocated and spent, and we can review what's available and plan for the future. And I think that's very important. I wanted to thank the Wayne Ford Civic League for their contribution to a local school. It's actually a school in another community, but Westland children attend it. Rosedale Elementary third graders were able to visit Lansing on St. Patrick's Day. I was fortunate enough to go as their chaperone. I now know why I have 1 child and not 7. But it was a great opportunity. They got to visit the Capitol building and the Michigan Museum. So it was really special, and it's the first time that those kids got to go anywhere. So I really appreciate the support from Wayne Ford Civic League for helping those children. And then the last thing that I wanted to make mention of, other than missing the basketball game, probably because I'm jealous because I don't play basketball well, but so you guys will get better. You'll get better. I have faith in you. anybody can play basketball better than I can. But I also wanted to remind everyone about the annual firefighter charity ball that will be on May 6th this year. It is a special milestone. It unfortunately marks the 10th year since we lost firefighter Wilkie, and the proceeds of this event goes on to provide scholarships for students that'll be going into who are dedicating their lives to fire service and EMS. So you can contact our fire department if you're interested in attending, and I know they're always looking for businesses to sponsor and things of that nature. So if you find it in your heart to be generous, that might be a good avenue to turn to. With that, giving you some study session dates, giving you a little procedural update, and some fun things to do. And we will see you in 2 weeks. And until then, if you have any questions, reach out to us. My phone number is listed on the website, but you can always reach me at 734-716-0294, barring any DT outages that make my cell service go away. So with that, have a good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Not much from me today. I did want to thank the Disability Advocacy Committee for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. It's a little break, but it was nice to do that, and thank you for coming out. With regards to the seating changes up here with the chiefs down there, and that was a request made by the administration, so that request was their change. So if you want to talk to them about their reasoning, the mayor's sitting on that side of the dais, so feel free to talk to him afterwards. Right under the bus. And other than that, I've got nothing else. Thank you all for coming out today. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved.